Hello, everyone. Welcome. We have a very special guest with us today. His name is Adam Welch. He would like to share with you all his phenomenal ET experiences. So please open your heart and open your mind. You may hear some fun experiences, some jaw-dropping experiences, but this is the truth. Okay, so let's take it from here, Adam. Hello.
Hi, Patty. Thank you for asking me to come on and speak about my experiences. Uh, it's something that means a lot to me, and I truly, the reason I do share and reach out is so to help others that are going through the same thing I did.
I'm
You
sure
know, I'm
people been through this kind of experience and things that they're crazy, think that this can't be real. What do I do? I'm scared, right?
oh, absolutely. I mean, and unfortunately, I lived in silence most of my life because I didn't understand it, and I don't want other people to have to go through that.
Yeah, because now you do. You're not
And
with that.
I do now.
Let's
And
start your journey with the reason why you wanted to have the quantum healing hypnosis with me.
So I originally seeked out regression after lifelong experiences. I've seen shadow beings ever since I was very young that would, always be looking into the room. It was like they would just be looking around the room, into it. And I remember one night as I was, looking at this shadow being that in the blink of an eye, it was right next to the bed looking down on me. And then, I don't remember anything after that as a child. And then as I got older, these experiences continued to happen to the point that it was undeniable what I was experiencing. Um, I was experiencing missing time. I was capturing images of crafts in the sky above me, portals, and I was seeing these beings. And so I finally reached out for help. Uh, and I reached out to MUFON and reported my experiences. And I was asked to speak with somebody with the MUFON Experiencer Resource Team. And then that was the first time I realized that I wasn't alone in this. That there are many people like me, millions of people who are having experiences. And it's the reason I needed regression was because it was so traumatizing. I had so much fear in it because I didn't understand what it was. So, when I was growing up as a child, in the public school system, they would take you to a church and, so I was influenced by Christianity and the ideas of it as far as, you know, what these, demons, the ideas of demons and, good and bad. So I had no reference to do like to put what these beings were or these shadow beings into that kind of category. Um, and unfortunately that caused me a lot of fear, and it bothered me and it traumatized me. I had a lot of PTSD from my experiences, and it wasn't until hearing other people's stories and you know hearing people that was actually able to remember more about their abductions and their experiences with these beings through regression. So I you know decided to go ahead and make the leap, and because I wanted to know. And it's probably one of the best things I've ever done.
What did you achieve? What did you achieve from your experience?
Well, not only did it validate it for me, uh, because I originally went into my first one because I've had three. I've done two with you and one with another individual originally. And not only did it validate it, I was also shown my experiences in a greater detail. It just wasn't that you would have these vibrations in your body, or you hearing ringing in your ears, and then seeing a flash of light and have missing time, or glimpses of just glimpses of imagery. You it showed me the whole scene, that what I was doing there. And by doing that, I started to not fear them as much, because I realized, well, they're not hurting me. Yes, it's disturbing at first, but with the regression and showing past lives and many different things. I mean, I just wasn't showing the ET experiences. I was showing a very wide variety of experiences.
What were they?
Uh, the past lives I was shown, they were shown to me as teachings to help me in this life. Um, I mean, as fascinating and wonderful as they are, but the whole meaning of it was to give me teachings for this life, because this is the current life I'm living.
Mhm.
In the
What did you learn? What lesson did you learn from that life that you can apply into this life?
that so I had a lot of questions about why this was happening to me. The whys. Uh, it's happened to me all my lives. I've had these repeated experiences in every life,
Mhm.
and that's why they were showing me these certain past lives and the experiences in them, to remind me that this is something that I've always done, and I'm always going to do it. It's a very wonderful thing.
And how did it change you?
It transformed my life completely. Um, I used to be a person, and I would consider that as wasn't a very good person. I lived a very low life, um, with drugs, alcohol, and some of it I did because I was trying to cope with what I couldn't understand. And I wasn't a very good person. I was, the mind, how I understood the world. You know, I wasn't very loving. I wasn't a very good person at that time in my life, because you know when you have these experiences and so many setbacks and you don't understand what it is, yeah, it can take you to a place of ego and hatred, and you don't love yourself. And so that connection you have with the source in you is taken away some by doing that.
So how did it transform your life?
Well, um, it it actually transformed me in a way, I would even say, to the degree biologically as well. The transformation I went through, it took me out of ego. It showed me what oneness was, and how all of us are here together. I mean, and I love everyone. You know, it, you don't have to tell them that, but you can send your love, and it's something that for me, was one of the best things that's ever happened. To have my understanding expanded, my consciousness, and to realize that some of us, we're here because we have purpose here,
Mhm.
and we all have a mission.
Yes, when you have the clarity, it makes it easier, right? To deal with everything that life has to offer,
Well,
right?
yeah.
And
we,
then a year later, you asked to have another session. Why did you need to have another session with
well, because with my contact, I believe we all have these gifts, because I'm not special. I mean,
a special?
so once I started having this beautiful relationship with them, I started having beautiful experiences as well. And what I seen in these regressions, for instance, uh, I I wanted to learn about my abilities, in a greater detail, so I could use them better. And I was taken to a scene where I was sitting in my home on the couch, and then as I was looking at a wall, a portal appears, and a being comes through it. And this type of being was a mantis being. And I get up off the couch, and I go with this being outside, and I'm taking aboard a craft. And while on this craft, I see other beings, small grays and stuff like that. And one interesting thing about the small grays I noticed was they were always busy. Like they were really busy workers, or I would say they were scientists almost. And so when I'm here interacting with this mantis being, I look down at my body, and then I start seeing my body change. Uh, I started changing into a mantis being as well. My hands started to change, and I had two very long fingers. And I was so taken back from it. And I was like a child that's seen their hands for the first times. So I was just, amazed by it. And, I was having communication telepathically with this mantis being, and I was asking the whys, why am I, having these experiences? And it was because they harvest emotions from me. The mantis being is able to harvest emotions so that way they can help other races. Um,
This
and
how this is how they can feel the human's emotion through you.
yes,
So
yeah,
they can relate those emotions and know coming up with something that would be helpful to others, right?
yeah, sort of like as like a conduit. So they would take these emotions and so that way they can help other races out there that are in a lower vibration.
Not just
Because
Earth, right? Not just planet Earth.
no, not on there.
Yeah,
Every
yeah, for anywhere, any planet in a
yes,
lower vibrations, and they get to learn through your emotion that you experience in human's form.
yes,
They can generate that and utilize that to help other beings in just any planet that they could come across.
yeah, because that's because some of us, even myself, at one time, I was in a very low vibration, and when they contacted me and they started, having more experiences with me when I was older, they actually raised me out of these lower vibrations into higher vibrations.
They got your back.
They got me back. So, with these regressions, I mean, it's so much information that comes out. Uh, Even before, this meeting today, I was reviewing over some of the material of the regressions. And when you're able to put the information into place, that's when it's truly beautiful. Uh, so I'm sure you noticed there's a picture behind me. I took this picture years ago, and at the time, I was in a lower vibration, and I took this straight rainbow to be a very positive omen at that moment. I didn't actually understand what it was, or other than that, other was just a beautiful thing. Years later, in my last regression with you, it was the first thing that came out, and that was a beautiful way to validate how real and powerful these regressions are. That image that I took years later, I was able to put into place through a regression.
And you also get to make another connections with some other different beings as well on that
Yeah,
second session. Who were
I
they?
I learned that I'm in contact with multiple races of beings.
Remember all the races
Yeah, there's five, but there's probably more than that. I have five contracts with
that
at
you
least five races. Yes, they were Arcturian, Andromedans, Mantis beings, Greys, and we'll say reptilians. And that's one thing a lot of people don't quite understand, that because reptilians are always you know described as negative.
but all races have both sides,
Yeah,
right?
they
Benevolent and malevolent. You get to experience the benevolent one that could
yeah
help you with the information that you needed Is that
It's
right?
just like humans, there's good and bad in all of us, right? Even myself, there's good and bad in me.
Mhm.
Um, so you would have to believe that there's good and bad in all beings out
You
there.
can feel it. You can feel the energy of the being.
And but I believe that most the if you had to put it to a percentage, it is an overwhelming percent of positive beings
Mhm.
and a very small percent of negative ones out there.
Right, but the negative one, they are the most talk of. That's why people just feel like, okay, all of them are like that. But you and I know with the experience we've had. Yes.
I just had a experience with three reptilians a couple nights ago, and it was a very and this will kind of show you that they do have your interests at heart, and that they don't want to bother your psyche, because they had hooded cloaks on. I could see their hands. They had three fingers, and I asked if I could see their faces, and I was told no by them because they believed it might bother me. So if they didn't care about me, or if they wasn't good beings, they would have no worries about if it should bother me or not. So people can't just you know label a race of beings as bad, and that's something I learned through regression. Even at one time in all of this, I thought the mantises were bad. So the regressions truly helped me understand that it's something that it's you have to grow. And when you have contact and you choose with free will to, you know, have contact and, explore it, you actually grow. And a lot of things changed. I went from a very negative side of this to a very positive.
And they've been showing up to you physically as well. You sent me some pictures.
Yeah. Um,
Would you like to talk about that?
yeah. So there's a lot of different ways I experience these high strangeness. In the very beginning, when they were trying to, come back into my life, it started out as orbs would come down out of the sky. They would look like, I would say, the size of a volleyball, and they would come down, and they were just radiant blue electricity, and they would be right in front of me. I mean, to a degree that you just can't deny the experience. I mean, seeing something way far in the sky flickering or something, it's but when it's right,
How did you feel when you saw that right in front of you?
uh, it was emotionally overwhelming if you want to think about it like that. Because,
In a good
but
way
yeah, in a good way. It's
to you because you had the contact under hypnosis when you're under the trance. And then later on, when you warm yourself up to them, knowing that they have your best interest in mind. Now they feel comfortable to show themselves in physical form, but they don't have the physical form that we have. They are energetic beings, so they show you as that form of blue bright light that you say.
in the beginning they came down as orbs because they didn't want to bother my psyche. I mean, if they would have just appeared to me as how they look, it wouldn't have benefited me. It wouldn't have done me any good. But the way easing back into my consciousness with meditation and uh through consciousness and stuff like that, at first it prepared me to what led me up to eventual having a fully awake experience with them.
And you were ready back then before you had this amazing experiences through the hypnosis. They probably would not showed up because they knew that you might not be able to accept, and you might have fear, right?
Yeah. Well, I
React to it. But now
I
because you're ready.
um and they worked very slow with me, and I think that's with all individuals. The the more you can move out of fear of them and understand what they're doing, they actually it changes. Uh, so, for instance, I was doing a guided meditation after I reached out for help, and it was a very quick experience. I had literally only seen a flash of an image. It was a being, just a flash in my mind, and the word Andromeda came through. Now later, I was able to put all that into place of why it was, like that. But they really do. The good beings have your best interest at heart because they they don't want to bother you. They want you to be able to experience your life in the now, and just they don't want their contact to bother you at all. Um, but
But they want you to know that they are there to help.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
they're and I call them my family because they are.
Mhm. Mean that you explain how the past life you get to experience, you were one of them in different,
Yes, yeah.
right? So
Um,
now, so families are still there, and you're the one who are brave to volunteer to come here to help the earth, to help humanity. So,
that's one thing I learned is that and that was through regression, is that I volunteered to come to Earth.
mhm.
Um, I've had many lives on Earth, uh,
And
and
many
they're all,
on different planet as well.
and they've always been there. Um, so they're definitely watching over me and protecting me. And it's not just me; it's all of us. Um, it's but being in this physical life incarnation on Earth, as an experience, or a star seed, or a volunteer, however you want to word it, you always yearn for home. And it's, you know, I know I want to go, but I
Yeah.
know the mission's here.
Yes, many of my clients feel like they don't belong here. They want to go home. They don't know what home is, where home is, and they don't know why they're here. They just don't like anything about it until they get to learn the reason why they are here, the mission that you talk about, right? And they start to realize, oh, this is where home is. They get to experience being at home. And each experience is so unique. Yours, you get to feel home in this planet, in that planet. You get to reconnect with your soul families, and it's very uplifting for you to know that yes, you're not alone, and you are here temporary, and this is why you are here, right? You are here for a mission. So what mission that you learn, the reason why you're here?
I learned that I was a wave of volunteers that came,
Which
and I'm part of the second wave.
Mhm.
Um,
For
and
people that may not know what we talk about, the book that Dolores came out, that's the book that got me interest into her work. Three waves of the volunteers and the new earth. Right? So the first wave would be about my age or older, right? They are the groundbreaker. They come in and have to endure a lot of hardship because a lot of people just not ready for that big shift, big change that continuously happening in our lifetime. And the second wave that you are about your age, and this is they have it easier. You have it easier because the first wave already set the foundation, but still, you still have to do a lot of work, meaning that you're aware now why you're here. You volunteer to be here, so you want to honor that. And in the meantime, you're aware that, okay, this is the reason why it doesn't feel like home to me, right? It
well,
to me. But a lot of things, I get a download right now talking with the waves. In her book, they talk about the volunteers that come down here. They have not experienced human experience it on Earth, but you volunteer in a different way because you're the veteran of the Earth. And also, you raise the vibration and you get to experience in a high vibrational planet with other beings. And in the meantime, you decided to volunteer to come down here for this important mission, right? That you want to be of service to humanity on the earth. And that's what I would like for you to focus on, that mission.
Uh, so, like you said, you was explaining the ways of volunteers. My mission's simple. You know, I'm here to help raise consciousness. So the how do I help raise consciousness? I just experience. I'm here. Uh, it's you. It's your vibration. Uh, when you're actually when you come in contact with people and you talk to them or have experiences with them, just being this kind of conduit, it naturally brings them up.
That's what you're doing right now.
Yeah, that's it. The mission's pretty simple once you understand it. And you know
Like clarity is important, right? Once you have the clarity, you know where you're going, you know how to get there, and you know what you need to do, right?
yeah, and that was something that came through with regression. That was one of the big things that I wanted to understand, was what was my purpose here. And thankfully I had some really great validation, because I didn't know who Dolores Cannon was, or I haven't met Patty then. In my first regression, I learned about the volunteers and all this about Earth being a school and everything that we're doing here. And then have it later come through as seeing Dolores Cannon's work and working with you. It's truly a beautiful thing and a great validation.